Any questions so far? The dog? Yeah, it is my dog. All right, so let's start with video. When you have to maintain, next to your TV broadcast transmitter, you also have to maintain the studio. You will probably need maybe even still analog video, but probably SDI video, be it standard format, HD format, 3G format, or higher. Maybe 70, 2022-6, 2110, something like that. And you might need a test tool for that. So one of the test tools available on the market here in the US is Fabrics. They are now owned by Leader, but they are a British company. It's because the guy that started it, his name is Phil Adams, and he made a brick that was a test instrument, so he called it Fabrics. They have 4 portable units these days, and most of them have SDI inputs and outputs. And then depending on the model, some have also analog in and out, audio in and out, or can measure the I of the SDI and so forth. They're very portable. They're battery operated. They are multifunctional. You can generate patterns, audios, up to 16 channels, look at all your SDA data, and see the picture, look at the waveform, look at the vector scope, look at your 16 channels of audio, whether they be Dolby or just regular AES. That's all possible. Their pricing, they go anywhere between like $4,000 and $10,000, let's say, depending on what it is you want and the features that you need. They have options. And for those cases where you might need more than just a little, maybe ST2110, you might need like 25G IP, or maybe these days they made a new box that is 100G IP. If you ever encounter that, it is possible to measure. They have monitors for that. They look like the box on the bottom there. You can, of course, connect all these items to a big HDMI screen and therefore have a bigger screen. But for the portables, the most important part is to be able to go inject a signal somewhere or look at a signal somewhere in your installation and make sure everything is going right. By the way, if you have any questions, I don't mind if you interrupt me. Just say it. You don't have to wait till the end. So some other guys that do almost the same thing used to be Tektronix, but Tektronix per se does not do test and measurement equipment for broadcast or video anymore. They have given that away to Telestream. You've probably, I think there's a Telestream booth here even. So they have one particular unit, which is the Waveform 2300. That's also a multi-format generator and analyzer. They do very similar things. The nice thing about this unit, it has a larger screen, so you can see multiple things at the same time on your portable. But they have slightly less audio possibilities, and they have no IP possibilities on this unit. So you cannot expand it to, let's say, SMPTE ST2110. That is not a possibility here. But a lot of people like this. So it is certainly available. It's also a really good solution for video testing. All right. For your TV station, however, you will have to encode your signal from SDI and compress it into a transport stream. So we're talking about ASI then. And many cases, people are looking for easy tools to look at a transport stream. The smallest I found is from a company called Electronica. They are from the Netherlands. And that little box there is literally the size of a lighter. So the connectors on there are not even BNC, they are mini BNC, and they give you special cables from mini BNC to normal BNC to connect it to something. You also connect it over USB to a PC that drives the software. And you can do your transport stream analysis on your laptop with their software. Then afterwards, put the tool back in your pocket or in your briefcase. They sell for just over $1,000, so it's a pretty cheap, relatively cheap unit, and works really nice. The product that most people know, however, it's a similar tool on the bottom there. It's also a probe for transport stream analysis. Also a Dutch company called DECTEC, and most people know them because they've been on the market for a long time. They make those units. They make them also, like the middle one is a combined transport stream input and RF input that understands 8 VSB. So you can take your RF in next to your ASI in, and in both cases do your RF analysis, but also do the transport stream analysis, see your bit rates, see your transport stream tree, all the PIDs, and so forth. They also make some odd tools, like the tool above there. It looks very odd. I still don't know what I need to name that shape. It looks like an inverted screwdriver or something. But on the end, there is an RF connector, and it exists both as a generator and also as an analyzer for RF, for broadcast RF. So there's one that generates ISDBT and DVB and so forth, but also ATSC1 and ATSC3. And they have the same thing, and then it becomes also an ATSC1 or ATSC3 analyzer. So it takes RF in, and you can do your RF measurements. There is no transport stream input on that one, though. It's uniquely RF. But again, these tools, they will vary in price. Usually they're a few $1,000s, and in this case, it also depends on the softwares that you want with it, because DECTEC's system is to sell you some hardware and then also some software tools, and depending on how you combine those, the price can vary. For those, and I'm sure some people here have Triveni Digital Transport Stream Analyzer in their house. For those that want to do the real deep down transport stream analysis, is actually only one brand. This is US-based Triveni Digital. They make the RM60 right now and the XM60 and the, what is the other one? The RM, doesn't matter. It's a number also ending in 60. One series is the rack-mounted, and the other ones are, you could call them portable, but they are really big portables with a big screen inside. They allow you to dig down into a transport stream to the bottom. So the last little flag or in there somewhere, they will know why it's there, if it's good or not good, if it needs to be monitored, if you need an alarm on it, they do it all. The only little thing about Triveni is that if you don't have at least like $20,000, $25,000 in your budget, you won't be able to afford one. Sorry. But they are super good. So the feature set is just overwhelming. There's other people that make small tools. Anensis is a French company. And they make little boxes like the referee that has ASI and RF inputs again, and you connect them to your PC and you can do lots of measurements. They also have that little box on the right, that is a recorder. So you can go into the field with your laptop, connect that to it, hook an antenna to it, and record the RF and replay the RF afterwards in a lab. So this is ideal for people that want to test like different receivers, but not take all the receivers into the field. You just record whatever it is you want to record, you take it to the lab, and now you replay that, and you can literally do the testing that normally would be, only available in the field, but now you have all those signals in the lab with the distortions and the reflections and, the bad noise and all that involved with a real live signal and not just generated. On the left side, they also have some monitors with multiple inputs, and again, they are RF inputs, IP inputs, ASI inputs, and those are there to do 24/7 monitoring. And again, alert you whenever something goes with that, outside of the boundaries of what you have set. So more manufacturers make monitors like that. Promax is a Spanish company. They have similar boxes, and they go from 1 to 16 channels, so you can have like 16 RFs and 16 ASIs and 16 IPs and whatnot. Sadly, today they only do it for ATSC1. They don't have an ATSC3 solution yet in that format. But on the good side is they start around $4,000 for a one-channel monitoring unit. So in some cases, that's all the money you have, and then this is a good solution. There's not much cheaper on the market than that. Almost the same again from Gesertel. They are also a Spanish company, but on the other side of Spain. They make something similar, but only with 1 or 4 inputs, no more. And they do accept also, besides ATSC 1, 8VSB, they do accept ATSC 3 as well. So it's more versatile on the technical side, but if you want to monitor many, many, many things at the same time, you might need multiple boxes here, whereas with the ProMax, you can just have a multitude of inputs. Again, here, pricing will go anywhere between like 4 and 8K, depending on how many channels, what feature sets, and so. Still no questions? Oh, yes.
RCS 100, I see there's also, is it basically you buy the RCS 100, you can do 8VSB and HD radio?
So there are basically, in principle, to make it easy, three models. You have the RCS 100 for TV, and they will do the ISDBT and DVB, but we don't want to know. So they will have the RCS 100 for ATSC 1 and ATSC 3. Then they have the RCS 400, which is the same thing, but for 4 channels. And then there is also an RCS 100 that they call FM. And that is specifically for radio. So they will allow FM, stereo, with RDS, and HD radio to be monitored. So, but it's the same name, RCS 100, but one is for TV applications, one is for the FM applications. If you want to do both, you will need 2 different units. There is some connection here somewhere. Okay, is that what you want to know? Okay. Sometimes also not just the transport stream is what you want to monitor or your RF level or so. Some people want to go even deeper and look at, wow, do I have not only my PSIP and my closed captioning there, but do I have my SCUDdy triggers available? Do I have a moving picture, or is my picture frozen? Is it black? Is my sound gone? So all these things that can go wrong in a transmission. This company is Vela. They are US based, and they monitor all that, and they store it. So not only you'll get told when things go wrong, but they record everything, and you can go back in time and actually replay the video and the audio and all that and send clips to somebody else and so forth. They monitor all the advertisements and so forth also, so that in a case where an advertiser says, I paid you for 4 ads and I only saw 3, they can go back in the system and go like, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 at these moments in time. So we had them on air or not. Right. So this goes very deep into the system. And again, you can do that for multiple radios, multiple TVs, whether they are your station or another station. You can just grab it all if you want and monitor all and compare things and see maybe whether your competitor, has the same ad, but they have it 20 times and you only got paid for 4. So why don't we get 20? You could go and ask that.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What does that capable of monitoring? Does that have an RF input?
Yes. It's RF, IP, ASI, SDI. Did I forget something? Yeah, it's multiple inputs. But this is configurable, so they will ask you, if you want this quoted, they will start asking you, okay, how many RFs, and do you want them constant, or do you want them just sporadic? How many IP? All these questions will come, and then they know what they need to put into the server as interfacing. Yep. This is probably also pretty well known. Alphatec is a Canadian company. And they made that box on the top. That was their first TV analyzer. It was in those days only for ATSC 1. Now, of course, they also do ATSC 3. And they have some different models. They have what they call a portable model, but you still have to connect it to a computer. There's no screen. Anyway, what they are really good at is this is today the only analyzer in the whole worldwide market that can do ATSC3 analysis on a transmitter while switching its equalizer off. And transmitter manufacturers usually want that. They want to see the pure transmitter quality. They don't want to see it after the equalizer. Everybody else automatically has the equalizer switched on, so your measurements are slightly different. They are the only ones that have that switch on, switch off. It used to be Rode and Schwartz, they had the ETL. They have that too, equalizer on off, but the ETL is only ATSC1, not 3. So they become like today, when new ATSC3 transmitters are installed, most cases, the one that does the commissioning comes and has this box because there's no other way to do that. They are also used for monitoring because, again, they log a lot of information and you can go back in time. So it's a really neat box to have after the commissioning. But they are relatively expensive. They'll go between $10,000 and $20,000. And they literally only do ATSC 1 and 3. So there is no transport stream. They don't decode. They don't demodulate. But they do a lot of measurements on the RF side. So another RF tool that I found is from a German manufacturer, and it is not Rode and Schwartz. It's called Aronia. They make a series of spectrum analyzers that you have to connect to a computer via USB. They're really small. They're like a cigar box. SMA connectors on the front because it's a really small box. You connect some high-speed USB-C cables to your computer, and they will tell you that the computer needs to have all these specs because otherwise your computer can't follow. This thing pumps about 10 gigabit per second of data to the computer because it is a really fast analyzer. So it's a real-time spectrum analyzer. It grabs, depending on what bandwidth you buy, but it's at minimum 40 megahertz, and they go up to 490 megahertz of bandwidth in real-time bandwidth. And they do a FFT spectrum analysis that comes close to about 3 terahertz per second if you translate it into a sweep speed, which it doesn't sweep. You can make it sweep if you want, but normally it scans that frequency range. So it's super fast. It is so fast that it looks like an analog spectrum analyzer again, where you can see you see the spikes, but you also see what's beneath it, which in a normal digital analyzer you lose. You only see the top. You don't see what's inside the signal. And here all this becomes alive again. It is really, really fast. You have to go online to see examples of how fast it is, or I have to show you. But I have one screenshot where the guys that did Blue Origin, and this is getting older and older, now it's 3 years old already. It was new when I put it in. They wanted a really fast analyzer to make sure that nobody was interfering with their communications during that experiment. And so they installed this, and they were monitoring the spectrum. As you can see on the right side there, you will see the spectrum move. And I hope I can make this, yeah. And so the screen is divided into 3. The top is the spectrum. The middle is what they call the histogram, and then the lower is the waterfall display. And they record this at the same time, and they can demodulate at the same time and so forth if it's digitally encoded and all that. Or after the fact, they can go back and replay it and then try to decode it with a different decoder or something. I'll try it once more, but just keep an eye on like that middle screen. It's just like this is, it is super fast. They are really nice analyzers, and they start at $3,000. For $3,000, you have a 6 gigahertz version of this. But they do 8 and they do 20 and 40. And right now, I think their highest was a 110 gigahertz, and now they just introduced, I think it's a 140 something. I don't think you need that in broadcast, though. But I mean, they don't just make toys; they make pretty good analyzers. Yes. Okay. They also make antennas, and a lot of other manufacturers will use their antennas with their own logos on them. So as an OEM, their specialty is these directional antennas. So they'll have a logarithmic periodic antenna in something that is handheld. So if you need to go and find a signal somewhere, These are really great for directional finding. And so almost whatever you find on the market, except for some Rode and Schwartzes that make their own, but everybody else kind of buys the Aronia antennas and puts their sticker on there, right? They have them in various frequency ranges, going down to LF, actually, very, very low frequency as well. And they make little amplifiers that are battery operated. So you charge the battery, you take it into the field, and so now you stick it, like here, you stick it to the input of the antenna, and you have an active antenna without needing a power supply, because the power supply is battery operated. So it's pretty neat. More RF. I've been dealing for 10 years with guys that are called their company Copper Mountain Technologies. They are in Indianapolis. And contrary to what it looks, because again, it's a little box that USB connects to a computer and just connectors on there and no screen and no power supply, because that's all external. These analyzers are amazingly good. When I started promoting them to customers, my question was always that I got, well, I got a HP 8753 and I want to know if this is as good, as fast, as dynamic, as precise, and you know, all that. And I always said, well, here's my demo, try it. Nobody could ever find any difference between, you know, the big analyzer and the small one. So these have become almost standard in broadcast, where a lot of people that do commissioning, tower work, installs, come and sweep your line, your antenna, they will all use a little Copper Mountain Technologies network analyzer. They range anywhere from 4,000 to 12, 15, 20, also depends on the frequency range. And yes, I do know there is the tiny VNA on the market that you can get for 50 bucks. And I do get the question, like, how do they compare? And my answer is nobody can beat that $50 of the tiny VNA. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Even if you drop it and it breaks, you just buy a new one. These things go farther. They have a higher dynamic range, they are faster, they are more accurate, they don't have these spurious that sometimes appear on the tiny VNA. But again, you have to shell out at least $4,000, right? Again, I have nothing against that tiny VNA, certainly not for, you know, I had amateurs come in and say, I saw this, should I buy it? And I go, yes, buy that. No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, 10 years ago, $50, $100 for a tool like that, that would have been amazing. And today it exists, right? I don't sell those, but you can get them off Amazon. But yeah, these are really, really nice vector network analyzers. They do come in half a vector network analyzer as well, because sometimes all you got to do is shoot a signal up to an antenna and get the reflection back and do a VisWAR measurement or return loss measurement. You only need one port for that. Why use a network analyzer with two ports? So they put half a network analyzer, signal generator, the bridge, you know, everything is in just one little probe with one connector, and you can do all those measurements. The only thing you cannot do is sweep through something, through a cable or through a filter. That doesn't work, you only have one port. But can be useful, and again, it's handy because it's very small. Power sensors, also frequently asked. Yeah. First thing that comes to mind is, well, Keysight has power sensors, and Rode and Schwartz has power sensors, and yes, they are, and they're really good. And you can get them, they connect also via USB to your PC, and you don't need a power meter to go with it, but you can. But they charge a lot of money. So these guys live in Idaho, I think. Yeah, Idaho. They're called Ladybug. It's a really nice name. Ladybug Technologies, they make a whole series of power sensors, mainly in the microwave range, because their market is all the military stuff and all that. And they have one that only goes up to 8 gigahertz. That's the only one. And that is a true RMS. And so I thought, like, that sells for $3,000. $3,000 is a lot of money, but for an RF sensor, that's the cheapest almost you can get, unless you go to like a Mini Circuits, or there's another brand that have the little detectors. You know, that exists too. But this is a calibrated power sensor. They work really nice, and also these guys, they have a very nice support system if you need any support with their tools. They work together even with Copper Mountain because Copper Mountain uses their power sensors for power calibration. So their software works together as well. Again, I have customers that say, no, I don't trust that, give me the Rode. Sure, I can give you the Rode, but I think these days the price for the one that is really viable for broadcast measurements, the price is now close to 5,000, 5,500 somewhere. So it's gone up a little. It's pricey for just a power sensor. I know, but that's what it is. So many people come to me and say, well, you know, that's all nice, but I don't have all those budgets and I don't need all those tools. I wouldn't want like one tool that does everything. It's great. Let's delve into that. So there's two manufacturers that make really nice portable analyzers that have not only the power supply, but also the screen and the buttons and the touch and print facilities and screen capturing and remote controlling, and then all the measurements all in one unit. And that's nice, of course, because you don't have to buy like a transport stream analyzer and a power sensor and spectrum analyzer apart. You can have everything in one. So one of them is Promax again. Like I said, Spain. They are from Barcelona. It's nice when you buy one and you want to go and get it from the factory. You know, make a little trip to Barcelona. Yeah, takes 2 weeks approximately to go and take ownership of your unit. So they go from like low to high. The Atlas is their newest unit. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But they have a whole range of different units starting at around $2,000. And of course, what happens is at $2,000, you have a few features and then it grows as you spend more money. They go all the way up to about $11,500 and then you got it all, right? So let's see what that means, got it all. So the Atlas is their newest. They put in that box a 6 gigahertz spectrum analyzer. And then all the TV measurement capabilities, both for ATSC1 and ATSC3, everything for satellite up to DVB-S2X, everything for cable, including the US standard, an IP input for unicast and multicast. There is an MPEG analyzer, so you have your PIDs, you have all your data rates, you have your pie chart, you can dig down into the transport stream tree, see your PSIP information, and so forth. They decode up to 4K UHD. It doesn't come on screen, of course, because the screen is only this big, but there is a HDMI output that does give you that resolution. There's a full transport stream analyzer again that can both record and replay as well. They include FM and RDS, and they include the 3G generator and analyzer also in the same box. They have actually an internal GPS, and they give you an antenna, so you can go out and drive and do drive tests, so field strength measurements, and gather that information both as an Excel sheet with all your measurement data and your position and the time in Excel, or as a KML file, and the KML file is what you need to put directly into Google Earth and get all your measurements on a map. So they do that. I'll give you a few screenshots. So there are the connectors, RF in, optical in, 10 megahertz reference, ASI and SDI in and out. The SFP, yeah, they're working on SMPTE 2110 as well. That's a future option through that SFP socket that is there. Your IP input for unicast, multicast, and then on the side there is some more, but these are the major ones. So depending on what it is that you want to measure, you select what you want to have on the screen somewhere. So that could be like 2 little displays and a big one, and you can move those around. And then every single display, there is that little triangle, and that's a drop down, and there you select what it is that you want to see. So if it is not at this time the spectrum or your measurements or the picture, you can make it the constellation diagram, like if that is ATSC 1 or 3, or if it is satellite, or if it is cable, it's all the same. You can make that your transport stream analyzer, your PID analyzer. You can make it SDI, all these, you know, monitoring 24/7. On the top right is where the PSIP information is shown for that channel. So basically anything you want to do, you can record that, you can make screenshots, you can export those. Lot of possibilities. So ATSC 3 is always included. It's not an option, it's just there. So whenever you're going to need it, maybe, it is already there. And again, they look into all your bootstrap information, PLP information, echoing, your constellation. Everything is being analyzed and decoded. So again, you get picture and sound. You don't get a transport stream because ATSC 3 doesn't have a transport stream, but there's still an IP content. Again, that you can record if you want and replay. So then there is the Hexalon. It is almost the same, and it is also from a Spanish manufacturer, but for the fact that they kind of almost hate each other because, you know, obviously there are competitors in the world with the similar equipment. But I propose both because they are at the both same time very similar, and still they have a little difference. And depending on what people want, I will recommend one or the other. So I'll just go through, like this analyzer here, the spectrum analyzer is 3.3 gigs. So if you really need something above 3, then you know, the other one might be the better choice. But again, it's ATSC 1 and ATSC 3, all the satellite standards. By the way, people say, how do you connect it to satellite if you only go to 3 or 6 gig? The answer is that you connect it to your LNB. And the unit is capable, both are capable of powering the LNB with, you know, you say 13 volts, 18 volts. It powers the LNB, the L-band signal comes back, and the unit knows that, oh, this is L-band, and it converts, and it tells you what the SHF frequency was. So again, cable, IP, 4K video, Wi-Fi, FM, remote control, transport stream analyzer recorder. So those things are almost the same. You will see I have a few screenshots as well. It just handles differently. It operates in a different way, and the screens look different, but they do very similar things. So again, you can have like multiple things on the same screen, up to 6 or 4, or just one. You select whichever you want. And again, it's all your spectrum information or RF measurements, MER, signal to noise, your constellation, your shoulder measurements, all those things are being executed. Again, we have the pie chart, we have the content, we have long-term monitoring. This is also a difference. These guys do a PCR jitter measurement, which the other one does not. So that's kind of a difference. If PCR jitter is very important to you, then this is the solution that does that. ATSC 3 constellation, again, all the bootstraps and PLP informations, all the echoing, the distances between, maybe if you have ever an SFN or you just have reflections, you can see all that information. Spectrum analyzer, in this case with waterfall as well. Long-term monitoring, remote controlling, Wi-Fi analysis, unicast, multicast. I mean, there's more screens that I could, I mean, you have to almost have the unit in hand and try it all. There's just so many things that can be done with it. Right? Both common like carrying cases. In one case, it's a Pelican. They do a soft carrying bag. These guys have removable batteries, which the others do not. So you see there's slight dissimilarities. So whereas the Atlas goes for, you know, one price, no options, 11,500, these guys go anywhere between 9 and 13, depending on what you put into it. They have a long list of options, so it needs a little bit more work, but eventually you'll come out to 10, 11K also, so they're very similar price-wise. So when you do not have that kind of budget, there is one last solution for ATSC 1 and ATSC 3 testing. This is Televest. They belong to that same group as Gesurtel. This is a handheld that has the size of a walkie-talkie. And they have a little spectrum, they have a little spectrum analyzer about this size on it. But they are capable of looking at both ATSC1 and ATSC3 signals, including demodulating and decoding it. But there are no outputs for transport stream, and there is no GPS, and there is no screenshots and all that. But it's a really handy tool. Just give you a few screenshots there. Level measurements, MER, constellation can be seen, spectrum can be seen. Yeah, you can relay the data to your phone or to an iPad or something. That is possible. Okay, just one more thing. But the nice thing is, budget-wise, that if you buy this just for ATSC1, I think it comes out to $1,400. Yes, $1,400. If you buy it for both 1 and 3, it comes out to just over $2,000. So it's price-wise, it's a really good deal. But again, do not expect to dig very deep. You just see the surface of your information of your transmitter. But whether you use it at the transmitter or in the field, it's both possible. This is a portable unit as well. I know people have questions about radio, so a few last slides. So both the Hexalon and the Atlas can also be used for FM radio. They include that. And they both have an option that they will call advanced FM. And what that does is advanced FM, it gives you the opportunity to also look at the multiplex spectrum and to look at all the levels and all the modulations of every single one of the carriers in the multiplex. So there you see the multiplex spectrum and some of the measurements left top. Histogram information, spectrum information for the Hexalon. And then for the Atlas, kind of the same thing. You see the multiplex, and then again, you have measurements, all the deviations and all the levels of all those carriers. So that's kind of an extra that they both have. How's my time?
1 minute.
I got 1 minute? Okay. So please, any last questions or comments or?
There's a lot more available than I would have thought.
That's why I'm doing this, because I do know people they contact like Anritsu or Rode or Keysight, and then that's kind of the end of the road there for most people.
With an Anritsu, and it's like, oh man, that thing's pricey.
Yes,
This is a lot.
and then sorry for Anritsu, but then you buy that, or the Field Fox, or or the SiteMaster, and you have a really good spectrum analyzer that's portable, but that's all it does. It's a spectrum analyzer. It doesn't understand anything TV. It doesn't know what to do with the signal or anything. So that's the big difference, right? And that's what I want to show. So, absolute last question. $5, $10, $20? Okay, I can go no further. All right, thank you very much for your time.
Eddy, thank you. Great presentation.
Thanks.
We'll now take a short break, sponsored by Q. Is that how it's pronounced, Blake? Q. It's Q-U-U. It's Q.
Yeah, cute.
Q. And we'll reconvene at 3:25 for our general closing session in rooms, D281 and 282. Yes. Reminder, our afternoon door prizes, including the Sony 4K television, will be given away at the beginning of the session, and you must be present to win. So.
So also, I'm probably the only one that hasn't taken down his booth yet because I was here instead of doing that. So if somebody wants to see the unit, then be quick because I'm going to take it down right now.
Well, I can take some.